Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. I see that folks are joining us now, so we'll give it just a moment so that everyone can get in. Wonderful. We're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to today's info session for Provider Appreciation Day 2023. We are so thrilled to have so many of you preparing to show what you are going to do for our Provider Appreciation Day. We like that you are showing your support for childcare providers during this upcoming National Day of Recognition, which will be Friday, May 12th of 2023. This event is hosted by Child Care Aware of America, the leading voice on childcare. My name is Mindy Bennett, and I'm the Deputy Chief of Membership and Programs at Child Care Aware of America. And as I said before, we are thrilled to have all of you today. If you look at your tools, I'm going to go over just a little bit of housekeeping. You're going to see that you have the ability to chat with us. And then if you have any questions, there's a different box for questions and answers. So if you have questions that you want our presenters to answer for you, please do put those in the question and answer box, and we will get to those, as many of those as we can. You can also use that chat just to interject throughout the event and to share your thoughts. So to get us started, I wanted to share the agenda for today. First, I'm going to share a little bit about the history of Provider Appreciation Day, or you'll hear us call it PAD, so that you can understand why and how we celebrate childcare providers. Then some of my colleagues will hop on to share the Provider Appreciation Day website, which is chock full of celebration resources. And next, our public policy and advocacy team is going to provide some exciting updates about how you can connect your celebration to take legislative action in your community on the behalf of childcare. We have some new ways to engage that I think you're going to really find exciting. So finally, you'll hear from a few of our members who have hosted events. They're going to share what's made their events so successful and how you can leverage these ideas to host a fantastic Provider Appreciation Day event in your community. I know that many of you have hosted them in the past, and so if you want to jot in some of your thoughts into our chat so that other folks can see some of the things you've done before as you're listening, that would be great too. A bit of additional housekeeping before we get started. Please know that this is an interactive info session. So please ask questions, use that Q&A box, and we'll be able to route your questions to the right presenter. Do chat in your thoughts, chat in ideas, things that you've found success with in the past. So we'd like to hear that. And we're also going to use an interactive tool through part of this. So we call it Poll Everywhere. And what you'll want to do now so that you're prepared to participate in that is grab your cell phone. I know in meetings and things, people say, put your cell phones away, but this time we actually want you to grab that cell phone. And to prepare, I want you to dial the number 22333. And you're going to put the message CCAOA. And that's going to prepare you to be able to participate in our polls in just a little bit. We'll show you on the screen when it's time, and you'll hear our presenter, Elise, will let you know when it's time. But you can type it in right now. You're going to get a message back telling you that you've joined Melinda Bennett's poll, so that you'll know that you've got the right one. So again, dial 22333 and type CCAOA, and that will get you prepared. So with that, we're going to get started. I'm going to share a little bit about the history. And on this next slide, what you'll see is child care workers have always been essential. You know that. You wouldn't be here if you didn't know that. But the pandemic brought their important work to the forefront. They keep our children safe, they nurture their curiosity, and they prepare them for a lifetime of learning and growth. Communities have been celebrating child care providers for nearly 30 years. The first Provider Appreciation Day was hosted by a group of volunteers in New Jersey in 1996. And now we celebrate it annually on the Friday before Mother's Day in May. And when we say providers, we're talking about any professional who cares for young children. That could be family or in-home child care providers, center-based providers, really any type of child care provider, your before and after school care providers, out of school time providers. They are the professionals who teach, nurture, and support our youngest members of society. The Child Care Aware of America is the organization that convenes these celebrations and equips communities to host their own events. Next, I'm going to turn the floor over to Kelly Crease. She's the Senior Manager of Marketing for Child Care Aware of America, and she's going to share with you about some of our marketing resources and how you can access those on our Provider Appreciation Day website. So Kelly, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mindy. Hi, everybody. So we did launch a new website last year that made it a little bit easier to sign up and access resources for Provider Appreciation Day. And this year we have added a few new features. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of some of those highlights. And as I'm going through this, please jump into the chat with any questions you have on the site or any concerns that you have as well. And I also wanted to mention that the best way to get involved with PAD is to make sure that you fill out our PAD interest form. And you can find that on the main landing page of the site and throughout the page or throughout the site as well to sign up. Once you do sign up, you will receive regular communications from us. And that includes things like updates, new features, new resources that you can download and use for your own celebrations. So if you're interested, please sign up and look forward to hearing from us from there. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of some of the main highlights that we have for this year on our PAD website. So if we go to the resources section up at the top, give us 1 minute. Yep, there we go. Okay, so after you fill out an interest form, you'll be able to access our toolkit for PAD. And some of the main resources that you will see there are updated graphics for this year, and that includes Spanish resources. We heard you loud and clear last year that Spanish resources would be appreciated, so we are doing our best to provide as many of those as we can. And if you sign up for the PAD communications, you will get updates on more Spanish assets that are being added to this page. So as you can see, we have our social media toolkit here that includes both English and Spanish that you can download and use on your own social media. And the other exciting thing that we have going this year is our media outreach. And that includes a couple of things. We've got a template press release, a sample op-ed piece, a sample letter to the editor, and then a media tip sheet. And the media tip sheet is good for if you are not used to reaching out to your local media, or if you need a refresher. This has some great ideas and tips on how to do that. And so those were the main updates that we wanted to share. We're super excited about the new look and feel that we've got, and I'm especially excited about these Spanish resources that we are providing. And like I said, please stay tuned, as we will be adding more to this site, as well as more Spanish resources as well. If we head back to the PowerPoint, there's a couple other things that we're doing this year. We are asking for photos and videos from past PAD celebrations or events to just help inspire other CCR&Rs, providers, families, or interested parties to share interest, so that we're not always recreating the wheel. So if you're interested and you're comfortable sharing, please reach out to us either on the chat, or there is an email address in the FAQs that we've provided where you can share your documentation or your photos, and we will definitely promote those on our site to give inspiration to everybody else that would like to participate. We also have a tool that we're going to be testing this year called Social Links. And the idea is to try and facilitate more collaboration and idea sharing with our local CCR&Rs who are members of CCOA. So more to come on that. We'll share how to sign up for that and how to get involved. So that's coming along. And I'm going to now pass the time over to my colleague, Elise Cranston. She's the Director of Advocacy for Child Care Resource Referral, and she's going to share some new advocacy resources that we are going to provide for Provider Appreciation Day. So on to Elise.
Thanks so much, Kelly. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm excited to be here with you and talk a little bit more about the advocacy opportunities that go along with Provider Appreciation Day. As Kelly mentioned, I'm the Director of Advocacy here at Child Care Aware of America, and so excited to support you in this process. So next slide, please. I wanted to start us out with a little bit of a get to know you. I'd love to know what folks in the room, what your experience with advocacy has been. So we're going to start out with a poll everywhere question with the instructions that Mindy shared earlier. So they're at the top of the screen here. If you didn't do it at the beginning, you can do it now to text CCAOA to 22333. Oh, amazing. People are already chiming in. This is great. So would love to know, have you engaged with an elected official before? Okay, it looks like people were like across the board. Maybe some are none of the above, a different thing that I didn't have listed. Oh, this is a pretty good curve here. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to give folks another minute or two to chime in. Looks like we're seeing most people in the I've sent a few emails or in the I've thought about it, but I haven't actually done it just yet. And that's totally okay if you're not interested in it. I'd love to tell you more about it this year, and hopefully it's something that can be an opportunity next year. Okay, this is fantastic and really interesting to see. I'd love to move on to the next question now. And so this question, this poll is specifically going to be about Provider Appreciation Day. So have you engaged with elected officials on Provider Appreciation Day before? So maybe you had an event and you had an elected official join. Maybe you requested a proclamation that worked out and your elected official did that proclamation. Oh, wow, this is great to see in the chat. That's fantastic. Okay, so and some interest, but maybe you haven't had the time or capacity. And again, totally fine to see the no thank you there as well. We know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but great to see so many people interested and really excited to talk about how to do this, since it seems like there are a fair amount of people that are interested, but maybe don't have the resources. So thank you all for chiming in. That was incredibly helpful for me. If we can go to the next slide. So I'd love to talk about what the connection between advocacy and Provider Appreciation Day is. Sounds like there's some folks that are already quite aware of it, but I wanted to make sure I was super clear about how Provider Appreciation Day is a special moment in the year. A lot of times when we're doing advocacy work, we have to go to our elected officials and highlight the challenges, or we're going to them to seek help for something. It's sometimes those are more serious conversations. And while those conversations are incredibly important and valuable to have throughout the year, Provider Appreciation Day is a beautiful opportunity for you to connect with your elected officials and build the relationship. It's a celebration. It's a way to recognize and highlight the incredible work that the childcare workforce, providers, educators are doing every single day. So it gets to be a softer touch point, which is why we engage, especially if you haven't done advocacy work before. It's a great way to get started on that initial step with your elected officials. So next slide, please. So there's multiple ways to engage. We saw a couple of them in that poll everywhere question, and there's ways that you can start out small and get bigger over the next couple of years. Maybe you're ready to take that big step this year. So you can do things as simple as, when you host your event, You can tag your lawmakers on social media. Let them know you're having this great event and it's important to recognize providers. That's a great first step to dip your toe in the water. Maybe you're ready for that next step and you want to submit a request for a Provider Appreciation Day proclamation. We have a simple form to do that on our website, and you can see the link to it right here on the slide. So if you click that link or enter that link into your browser, you'll be taken to a form where you fill out your information and it sends a template email request to your local officials. Oh, amazing. Someone did that last year. Love to see it. And it sends that over to your elected officials to request a proclamation. Again, this is a great, easy, light lift, hopefully, for you all to be able to take that step to, oh, amazing. I'm loving the communication in the chat and seeing people engaging. And so if you've already taken that step of submitting a request for a proclamation, I want to offer an opportunity to everyone to kick it up a notch. If you're hosting an event this year, you're already planning to host an event, go ahead and request to have one of your local elected officials attend to that event. This can be an incredible way to deepen that relationship or build a bridge for the first time. I know that might seem a little bit daunting if you haven't taken that step before. And so I'm happy to say that we are going to be providing resources that will be up in the next few weeks that will offer a little bit more support and guidance about how you can do that. So I encourage you all to take some initial steps, engaging on social media, filling out our form to request a proclamation, and then consider if there's an opportunity in the future to invite an elected official to an event or a celebration that you're already planning on hosting. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has taken these actions before, and thank you for your enthusiasm for advocacy on Provider Appreciation Day already. And I'm happy to help if you have any questions. So I know I'm coming up on my time here, so happy to pass it back over to Mindy as she can introduce our special guests. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Elise. And thank you, Kelly. On this next slide, I am happy to announce two guests that we have with us today. So we have Nicole, and she's the Professional Development Manager and Resource and Referral Manager for Patch Hawaii, who's going to share a little bit more about work that they have done in Hawaii to celebrate our hardworking child care professionals across Hawaii. And then you will hear from Michelle Terry. She's the Program Engagement Specialist at Child Care Answers, who's going to share a little bit about the work that they have done as a local child care resource and referral in Indiana. So first, Nicole is going to get started on the next slide to share.
Okay, thank you, Mindy. So last year in Hawaii, we held different events throughout the state. We had a lei po'o workshop. This is a lei for your head. This is when providers came together to learn this new skill and enjoy conversation and company. So that one is pictured on the upper left of the slide. Another event that we held, we had providers, they had the opportunity to make customized signs. We hired Naked Wood Crafts on Oahu and Friends and Fair on Maui. This one, we sent the registration out maybe like a month in advance so that those who were coming could give their business name, choose their font and their frame color. So on the day of the event, the stencils were all ready and providers were able to paint their signs. Everyone went home with a beautiful sign to post at their home. And that finished product is pictured on the bottom left. Another island connected with a local organization, Malama Kauai, whose goal was to increase food production and access on the island of Kauai. One of the benefits of this program is that they have free weekly delivery and discounts on food. Each provider in attendance, they did receive a cookbook that was published locally and in alignment with the USDA food program, using local foods such as poi, which is made from the root of the taro plant. So after they went through the presentation, then altogether they prepared a simple snack recipe that was included in the cookbook. So the feedback that we got from all of the events that we had were very positive. Providers really liked being able to relax and being able to connect with their peers. So along with all of the events, we also created a thank you video for providers. Included in the video were organizations in the ECE field, partners, DHS staff, childcare licensing workers, DOH, and families. So that video, we uploaded into YouTube, and then from there, we also added it to our website. And then we shared it widely also through email. Hawaii Children's Action Network, a local advocacy nonprofit, they really focus on telling provider stories in September of 2022. So at that point, they connected with us, Patch, the CCR&R, to connect out to providers who are willing to be interviewed. So in September, we did have 5 stories of 5 of our providers, all on different islands, published an article in the Hawaii Business Magazine. And on the top right of the screen, that is a picture of the cover of the October edition. Along with that, we also had 2 other providers who interviewed on the radio to talk about some of the challenges that they face and then what drives them to continue. And on another occasion, we also had a few elected officials who did go and visit family child care homes. These visits were held during the day when children were in attendance so that they could see firsthand some of the daily routines and what goes on. Along with all of that, we did also have proclamations in all of our counties on Provider Appreciation Day. And thank you. I'm going to hand it back.
Wonderful, Nicole. Thanks so much. And Michelle, it's your turn to share some of the work that you've done with Child Care Answers.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Next slide, please. So Child Care Answers, we opened our doors for our provider appreciation event. Next slide, please. To young children in a family, for child care professionals caring for young children in a family child care home, center, or ministry setting, as Mindy mentioned earlier. And prior to this event, we sent an email to over 1,800 providers and featured it in our May provider newsletter. Our theme for last year's provider appreciation event was Fill Your Bucket. And as you can see, our providers are filling their buckets with various self-care items, such as sugar scrubs, massagers, and face masks. We also serve light refreshments because, hey, you got to appreciate their appetites too, especially since we held our event in the evening time. Through the duration of our provider appreciation event, we were able to raise community awareness by securing donations from various community partners. We connected with providers seeking assistance with engaging families, and we were able to make connections while capturing program updates and encourage providers to participate in our photo booth to receive additional raffle entries to like, follow, or tag us on our social platforms. We even hosted a Facebook Live video during the provider appreciation event to garner more attendance. Next slide, please. We attribute most of the success from our provider appreciation event to planning ahead, teamwork, and community partner collaborations. I mean, would you look at those raffle prizes we have on the screen? They were awesome. We were determined to make this event about providers and not about professional development, as the items provided weren't just for the classrooms. It was about self-care and providing a real thank you to our providers. Our team also made a video expressing our gratitude for all of the hard work and dedication of our providers, and we looped the video throughout the provider appreciation event. Next slide, please. So how do you know that you hit the mark? We made it fun and we focused on relationships and making those face-to-face connections. Many of our providers did express their gratitude for the opportunity to network, meet Child Care Answers staff, and choose meaningful self-care items to fill their buckets in an environment that was specifically designed to show our appreciation for their dedication and demanding work. And then last but not least, the photo booth was a great way for everyone to let their hair down and engage in some silliness. Next slide, please. So when you're planning for your provider appreciation event this year, these are a few tips that I would suggest to help bring it all together. Number one, make sure that the event is geared towards providers and not necessarily their job, meaning steer clear of professional development, as they have all year to work on this. This is their day. Number two, those within your organizations that work with providers need to be there to make those face-to-face connections. We ensured that our program and family team were present. And then last but not least, have fun, you guys. Don't be afraid to release that inner child, dress up, be silly, take pictures, and play lots of games. It's a moment to enjoy everyone, and again, to say a big thank you for everyone's hard work and dedication. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Nicole, for sharing with us. I think this is probably the most important thing, that we are engaging and collaborating and sharing ideas and problem solving together and amongst the childcare community. And I think the more we do this, the bigger the impact and the bigger the reach we'll have. So we really appreciate your willingness to share the ideas. So as we wrap up today, I hope you feel inspired by the stories from our members and by all the new resources that we are providing for you and will continue to provide for you. So just to wrap up, I wanted to share a summary of the easiest ways to kind of jump in and get started. So again, submitting a proclamation, using our media relations resources to generate local coverage, recording a thank you message to express gratitude to your childcare providers, explore our toolkit, and that again includes Spanish resources and a lot of resources to help celebrate the providers in your community. And then lastly, sharing a message on social media. And we would ask that you use the hashtag #ThankYouChildCare, just so that we can kind of gauge how many people are engaging with PAD and able to hear what the community has to say. And we will be amplifying those messages in May during Provider Appreciation Day. So I will kick it back over to Minnie to wrap up. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I hope this has given you some really great ideas to enhance your Provider Appreciation Day, or if you've never had one before, to start your Provider Appreciation Day celebrations. So what's that first step? First, if you haven't done so yet, sign up to be a supporter of the at providerappreciation.org. That will give you access to our toolkit and get signed up to receive email updates as new resources become available. That's the tool that Kelly walked you through earlier, and we will continue to add new resources to that. Next, start making plans. Collaborate with other community groups and connect with your elected officials. And then finally, join our social links community. We'll be sharing more information out about that, but we are testing a member exclusive collaboration tool this year around Provider Appreciation Day. So for our members of Child Care Aware of America, you'll have a online social place where you'll be able to go, where the goal is to create a space where CCR&Rs, child care providers, your community partners who are members of Child Care Aware of America will be able to share ideas around around Provider Appreciation Day. And you'll be able to discuss better ways for us to not only celebrate, but also to support you with your events. We will be sharing more information about this new tool in the coming weeks, and we hope that you will be able to join us to help us get the conversation started online so we can collaborate together. So on the next slide, I want to share one additional exciting opportunity that is coming up that Child Care Aware of America is hosting. We are hosting our 2023 symposium. The theme is Stand Up, Stand Together, Stand for Childcare. This year, the dates for it are May 7th through 10th, and it will be in Arlington, Virginia. And we hope that we see all of you there. I do encourage you to register soon. We sold out of our Leadership Institute a couple of months actually before Leadership Institute happened. So we'd love for you to join us at Symposium. My colleague Cara just dropped in a link so that you can learn more about that event. So I do encourage you to take a look and to register. So on our next slide, this really wraps up the information part of today. And we do want to thank you all for joining us. We know that some questions have started to come in. So we do want to take a moment to answer any questions that you may have. So please do drop them into our question and answer box, and we can direct them. So if you've got questions for Michelle, if you've got questions for Nicole or Kelly or Elise, please drop them in the question and answer box, and we'll take a little bit of time to answer those. I see one that's come in, and the question is, how do I become a member? So I'm going to ask my colleagues behind the scenes to grab a link to drop it into the chat so that you can learn all about becoming a member. And we have individual members and we also have organizational members. And we have lots of resources for you. The online social community is just one. We have lots of other resources. Our members are able to post their careers, jobs for free on our career board. We have discounted professional development that we do. And there's lots of different ways for our members to engage with our subject matter experts across the organization. Kelly just dropped the link in for you to learn more about becoming a member. So please do that. We'd love to have you as one of our members. So thank you for asking that. Any other questions or thoughts?
Mindy, there was a question from Danielle. She wanted to know, what timeline would you suggest for requesting a proclamation? I guess that question could go to Elise.
Hi there. So I will just say that the request form is up and live now. So if you're interested in submitting a proclamation, the sooner the better. It's available for you. We do know that certain localities do have specific time limits where they do like to receive a request a month or 2 months in advance. So if you don't already have that information handy, I would just encourage you to go ahead and try and reach out as quickly as possible. And if you have any questions about the proclamation specifically, I will also drop my email address in the chat if you would like to ask more detailed questions about that process.
I see in the chat that we've gotten a couple of questions about requesting donations or about how do you get the money to offer to have food at your events, because their grants are so restricted that they don't have the ability to purchase food. So I was wondering if maybe Nicole and Michelle could share a little bit about how they've gotten funding for providing food at events, or maybe I'm seeing another one about sample donation request forms. So Michelle and Nicole, maybe you could both respond a little bit from your perspectives.
So I can speak for us in Hawaii. One of the ways that we kind of a little bit got around it was we hired like the Malamakwai organization who brought the food. Like we hired the trainer or the person coming in, and she brought all the supplies to create the meal together, and it was part of like a demonstration. But for other events, we did just reach out to other or apply for different grants, and with the grant money, those ones allowed us for food. It just kind of depends on what the stipulations were, but that was one suggestion for me. Michelle, maybe you had another idea?
Well, we were able to utilize donations that our organization has received towards food. Again, we have to be very mindful how we utilize funds when it comes to food and things of that nature. So the donations that our organization received, we were able to utilize some of those funds for light refreshments. And as far as getting donations regarding like our raffle and prizes, you know that saying, it's not who you know, what you know, is who you know. So being able to find out who we know personally or professionally that may be willing to offer a donation as a gift towards providers. But again, we were able to do that off the strength of donations.
Great, thanks so much. I did see a question that came in, and I think we were able to answer it in our question box, but Elise, as far as how far out someone should request that proclamation, did that question already get asked of you?
It did, and I went ahead and answered it. And I actually just dropped the link to our form where you can access that, the template letter to submit a proclamation request, as well as my email address. So if folks have any other detailed questions about proclamations or advocacy work overall, happy to follow up on those individually.
Thanks, Elise. Jeannie, are you seeing any other additional questions come in?
No, not yet, Mindy. Monitoring right now. We looks like all the questions have been answered or responded to. If anybody else has any additional questions, we're more than happy to, answer those.
Well, terrific. So I wanted to take this time just to thank you once again and start to wrap up. We're still looking for questions. So if you have any, please go ahead and submit those and we'll be able to get you answers. But it's been wonderful to be with you today. I can't wait to see all of the celebrations that you have. I do hope that you sign on and utilize our tools. If you're not a member, we'd love to have you be a member. If you've never come to Symposium, we would love to have you come to Symposium. If you've been there, we'd like to see you again. So thank you all so very much for joining us and for supporting Provider Appreciation Day. And if you'd like to partner with us further, please email us at partnerships@usa.childcareaware.org. And we are super excited to have you join us with this celebration this year. So thanks so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Take care, everyone.